Call me old man Wade.
Damn you, old man!
Wait.
Old ass man.
Shut up, old man. You smell like fart.
No!
Old man.
He's so old, he got a podcast on cassette.
Fuck, you're old.
Damn it, Wade.
Welcome to whatever show this is going to be on.
Well, we were just talking about this. Let's steal something from another podcast. We'll name this podcast later.
Yeah. I don't know what fucking podcast this is going to be on. But welcome my guest, my best friend, my brother. I've known him for shit over 75% of my life. My best friend, my man, 50 grand, Black Rabbit.
Yo. Hi.
Or Diddy.
Also known as the resident live commentary analyst for WrestleZone.com. Boom. I write about wrestling and I get paid for it. Be jealous.
Isn't that fucking great, though?
Well, it's taken all of the fun out of wrestling for me. I should say professional wrestling to be specific. I remember I was talking to, I was at like a funeral or some shit with my father's side of the family, and one of my cousins was like, "Hey, what are you up to?" This is when I first started doing some writing for WrestleZone. Oh, I was like, "Oh, I write about wrestling." He goes, "Oh, I love wrestling." And then he went into this long, drawn out conversation about Greco-Roman this and Olympic stat, and I'm sitting there like, I'm talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. Sorry, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
So first, what you do is get the oil. And once you get the oil,
I remember when I was younger, another one of my cousins, he actually wrestled in high school. He may have wrestled in college too. I couldn't have been more than like 14 or something like that. And we were helping my father move some stuff. So this big room was empty. It didn't have any furniture in it because we had just moved all the stuff out, right?
I see where this is going.
Yeah, you know where this is going. So I was like, "Yo, I heard you used to wrestle." He goes, "Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I watch wrestling. I'm sure I could take you." He goes, "Oh, word." Me and my brother, he squared off against both of us. He had both of us tied up in pretzels. I'm convinced that he took both of us and tied us in a knot.
He hand caught you. I'm gonna shove you up your brother's ass.
Yes, basically, that is how it ended.
Oh, speaking of shoving things up on people's asses, those Mandy Rose leaks.
Oh, wow, that was a hell of a transition. Oh man, that was good. Can we call them leaks though?
No, we can't call them. They're not leaks. And let me just say this is actually another part that I wanted to get into about how people are comparing the Mandy Rose images and why she was fired to why Austin Creed, Paige, and Seth Rollins were not chastised or fired. And the difference is two out of the three were leaked without the person's permission. The other one was doing it and making money from it. There were no leaks. This wasn't a violation of her. This was her making money, and the WWE and apparently Mattel was like, nah.
Well, I'm not even sure if Mattel had the opportunity to get involved. WWE was all over it once they found out about it. I think that people are stupid, and any reason they can find to denigrate the WWE, that they'll take advantage of it. And I, by no means am I like a rah-rah carry a WWE flag kind of guy, but to equate this situation with anything that's happened previously is silly because nothing like this has happened previously. Not exactly, at least.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of this that's really pissing me off, and it's very annoying scrolling through Twitter or being on Facebook because everybody's talking about this shit. We don't really know what happened. Like, there's two stories that are coming out. There's one that says that the WWE found out and they fired her. There's another side of this where some people are saying that they had a conversation. WWE found out they had a conversation about it, and Mandy Rose was basically like, "Nah, I'm not going to stop this because why would I?" And they were like, "Okay, well, we have to let you go." And Rose was like, "Okay, peace, deuces."
That seems like a conversation that you would have with someone in any professional setting.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's a matter of math to Mandy. I mean, there's reports that she's making somewhere around $250,000 a month via that site. What's her WWE? Her WWE contract can't be more than $300,000 or $400,000, if that. Especially seeing as how she's in NXT. I don't know what her merch is doing. I don't have merch numbers in front of me, but there's no way that it would be financially beneficial for her to stop doing that site and just get dropped on her head for a living. What kind of a feature is that? She can do this I forget what it's called, adult something. I don't know the name of the site that she's using. It's not OnlyFans, but she could do this for another 2 or 3 years and retire.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about it. And even if here's the funny thing about it, and people always forget that just because you were released or you quit from the WWE, unless you were a complete, what did Robot Man call him? Unless you're a complete cuckhead, you'll be allowed back.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is, like, you could tell when someone's left on bad terms.
Mm-hmm.
But Zelina Vega was released a year or two ago. Said that she had an issue with how things went, and then less than a year later, she was back.
It's funny that you mentioned Zelina Vega, because in all of this discourse, that's the situation that's the most like this Mandy Rose situation. Zelina Vega got let go because she refused to stop streaming on Twitch. Mandy Rose got let go because she refused to stop doing what? Showing her coochie on adultfriends.bootycall.com or whatever the hell it's called. / Mandy Rose.
I think it's called the Mandy's Glazed. So, if you haven't figured out what exactly we were discussing, Mandy Rose was let go or left the WWE after allegedly they had issues with her posting provocative pictures and videos on a particular website. Now, this website is not OnlyFans, it's an alternative to OnlyFans. And as Diddy so eloquently put, it's math. If I'm making $250,000 a month, and we'll say after taxes, let's say they take half of that, that's still $125,000 a month. That's over $1 million in a year. And that's not including meet and greets, and if she decides to sell her merch or even sell, now that she's out of the WWE, she
her
can
ass. I'm sorry, I had to.
Yo, so
there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
There's nothing wrong with that. And the funny thing about it is, she could. You know what I mean? I was gonna say she could sell her panties because,
man, listen, you were throwing up lob after lob. You were like, she could do meetups. She could do. I'm like, oh, God, if he says one more suggestive thing, I'm gonna explode.
She gonna be on a plane over Europe. What is it like the international waters? It's like you said, it's math. It only makes sense that somebody, if there's no negotiation thing here, if she went in and was like, hey, I'm making $250,000 a month from this, you're only paying me, let's say she was getting $400,000 a year. Let's just say for shits and giggles, she gets $400,000 a year, right? That still doesn't add up to what she's making now. And she doesn't have to worry about someone accidentally paralyzing her in further.
Oh, I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
Does Mandingo still shoot?
Is he the one with the knee braces?
Knee braces? What the fuck? What the hell kind of porn are you watching?
There's a black dude in porn who has like these giant like knee pads. It's like knee pads and Timbs. It's not crime. No, it's not crime time.
Well, I mean, at this point, you never know.
But yeah, man. So it only makes sense that she would leave. Like, why not?
It's the only thing that makes sense. The only thing that makes sense. Never mind the fact that she left WWE. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan has no problem with her spreading it wide on the internet. So she can go get a check over there too if she wants to. I'm pretty sure Impact Wrestling doesn't give a shit that she's fucking, I don't know, name something sexy. I lost my train of thought.
Mandy
doing
Rose.
that online.
Mandy Rose, doing herself
online.
Let me tell you.
So
I'm tempted to go get the website and send it over to y'all and be like, hey, what do y'all think? Is this worth the $25 a month?
I don't even have to see it to tell you that it's worth the $25 a month.
But yeah, man, it doesn't. the WWE is in a very weird situation with the transition of power that's happened this year. It was August, if I'm not mistaken, when Vince was fired, correct? Like August or maybe June, somewhere around the summertime, correct?
It happened towards the end of the summer. Yeah.
So it would only make sense that there's still going to be some issues in play when it comes to what is and isn't acceptable outside of the WWE, according to World Wrestling Entertainment. So who knows what happens next year or the year after when whoever's in charge is kind of like, hey, I don't really have a problem with this.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but
you know what's funny? You say that, but you never know, because we've seen how often have we said things this year regarding WWE and we're like, there's no way this could happen.
I mean, I suppose, but as long as she's still doing this thing, she's going to be persona non grata as far as WWE is concerned. As soon as that thing stops, she's going to be welcomed back with open arms. They clearly had big plans for her. It was very obvious to anyone with eyes that her and her group helped keep NXT 2.0 afloat during that weird, awkward transition period where they were trying to make it seem like Triple H and the Black and Gold NXT didn't exist anymore. They wanted to shine in. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like even going to the point where they had their new star with a chainsaw saw the NXT sign in half.
Yeah, that was a little bit too on the nose, even for them. But yeah, it was clear that she was about to get brought up to the main roster and all that stuff. She was going to lose the title. She was dropping that title to Roxanne Perez. Regardless, they moved the match up to facilitate this whole release situation. But it was happening, so no one should be upset about that, because that was Mandy Rose's destiny was putting over Roxanne Perez. The minute Roxanne Perez was signed, Mandy Rose's destiny was putting that girl over as the ultimate underdog of NXT. So anybody who's upset about Rose having to drop the title and thinking this is unfair, grow up. This is all business. I don't know that there are any hurt feelings here. And at the end of the day, if the two sides wanted to get back together, they totally will.
Yeah. Is there a reason why anyone should care about the NXT Women's Champion right now? Like, is she any good?
She's great. She's good in the ring. She has I don't want to say this because it's gonna sound like I'm putting her on this level, because she's not. But she has like a weird kind of plucky underdog Daniel Bryan-y kind of thing happening.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's something we haven't necessarily had in the women's division in a while.
What are you talking about? That
really.
was what are you talking about? That was Liv Morgan all this year.
Oh, don't do that.
That was. Here we go with another segue that I wanted to discuss among like the best and worst things that happened in WWE this year. And for me, Liv Morgan was absolutely the worst thing that WWE did all year. Like there was no high points to her. Her run was completely forgettable. And people comparing her to Daniel Bryan and to Kofi Kingston's run have absolutely no idea that there is a plethora of differences between Liv Morgan and the other two gentlemen that I just named. Chief among them is in-ring ability and likability. I shouldn't say likability because people love Liv Morgan for whatever reason. But I've yet to see her do anything where I went, oh my God, I was super impressed by that.
Yeah, I mean, I know sometimes I come off like a dick online when it comes to Liv Morgan. Like, I understand why people like her. I understand why the people who like her like her. I get it. She just doesn't. She does nothing for me.
Well, explain
her promos in the ring. It just, as far as why people like her,
yeah,
it's the same reason. It's the same reason why people love the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. They see themselves in her.
I mean, never mind. I could definitely see myself in her.
Giggity. No, seriously, it's like they latch onto these. I can't call them characters because they don't really have characters, and that's part of the problem for me. They latch onto these individuals because they see themselves in them, in that person, that the wrestler in this case is deep down, it's who that person really wants to be, how they want to see themselves. The plucky underdog, sprightly blonde, or the ramen noodle head pseudo homosexual prancer wrestler guy that Omega is. Like they see themselves in them.
Did you call him Oodles and Noodles head?
Yeah, his hair looks like oodles and noodles to me. Him and the girl from Ozark could be could be related.
Yo, do
And,
not
and, and
disrespect
Dolph
the girl.
Ziggler is their cousin.
Do not disrespect the amazing actress and woman from Ozark in Dolph Ziggler to fucking Kenny. I don't know how to use a hammer Omega.
I still have that video saved on my phone. I don't know why. For some reason, when I scroll when those memories pop up on my iPhone, if it that one's popped up before, and it still makes me laugh so hard. It's like he doesn't know how to use a hammer.
It was like you saw that Iron Man, the opening to the Iron Man cartoon, and just assumed that's how everybody uses a hammer.
Oh,
But yeah, but Liv Morgan, and the funny thing about it is I tried
I'm sorry. I have to mention this because I know you don't listen to Jim Cornette's podcast, and obviously my mileage with Jim Cornette varies, and he's a very divisive person in the wrestling community. But I figured you might get a kick out of this. Now, before I say this, like I said, I understand why people like Kenny Omega. He's very talented in the ring. I get it. He's just not for me. Do you want to know what Jim Cornette's nickname for Kenny Omega is?
I don't. What is it?
Twinkle Toes McFingerbang. He calls that man Twinkle Toes McFingerbang. That is probably one of the most creative insults that I've heard in a very long time.
That's Kevin Smith level genius. That
Yeah,
he basically called him Boo Boo Kitty Fuck.
Yeah, basically. That's the white version of Boo Boo Kitty Fuck.
Boo Boo Kitty Fuck.
Oh, I just wanted to share that.
So I see Liv Morgan, and I look at her and I wonder what her title reign would have been like if she would have went up against somebody like, let's say, a Sasha Banks, who made Ronda Rousey look like a god in the ring. So and we've seen Ronda Rousey have some really good experiences, but we've also seen that she's gonna wrestle to the level of the person who's with her, which is why those matches with Liv and Ronda Rousey were atrocious, to say the least. There was
they were bad.
Yeah, and then there was the people. It's funny how people will make excuses for her, but when dude from Hit Row accidentally like almost killed himself on Friday night, they dug into him. Like, so one can make a mistake, but not the other. Like,
Well, you know what that is. That's a race thing. Yeah, it's a race thing. Like there's like I'm not gonna make words with you here. That's 100% a race thing. If Top Dollar was a sprightly blonde, the internet would have been a lot more kind to him. He actually, they said on commentary that he lost around 100 pounds, and he looks a little strange to me, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and now it makes sense. So I can understand why he said that his knee gave out when he tried to do the dive, and that's the reason why he got hung up in the ropes. That makes sense. But his big ass shouldn't be doing dives to begin with. Like I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Like for that exact reason. But again, at the end of the day, he's black and he's divisive because he doesn't take shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he stands up for himself. So people like that are not going to get the benefit of the doubt on the Elon Musk Bird app.
What is his name? I was going to look up what he said on Twitter because it was actually really good.
Top Dollar.
Because he actually showed a picture of him doing said move.
I feel like I saw him do it in NXT.
So he said,
I feel like
no, go ahead. I'll find it.
No, I stopped myself because I was thinking, but I feel like I've seen him do that before.
Yeah, so actually here we go. He goes, once again, I say, because some of y'all clearly skipped this part. Some of y'all jokes are actively funny. I have definitely been laughing at some of y'all responses. The match was still very dope. Even with my fuck up, I'm grateful. Now, my favorite part was what he said originally when he posted the picture of him doing this dive, which was insane. I was 50 pounds heavier in this video than I am now. My leg gave out on live TV, and some of y'all jokes are actually funny, but calling me a liar is super weird. It could have been a way worse, so I'm blessed. Y'all don't care though, and I think
he's right.
and that's the part that cracks me up. Or the people who, who may be the most decisive wrestler of the last 5 years, Nia Jax, because her stands, oh my god, her stands are they're almost Beyonce Hive level, the way they'll defend her. But she has literally hurt people. And no one is like, y'all seeing what she did? Well, the person didn't do nah. I'm not rolling.
I don't know what internet you're on, but I ain't never seen no one defend that.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
No. Maybe
I thought she was gonna say like Sasha Banks or something like that. That tracks for me, but
nah, I must be on Samoan Twitter because a lot of people defend her.
On the BBL Twitter.
Let's wait for her to get nude.
She has her OnlyFans or whatever. I don't know.
Ain't nothing naked on there. If she's been naked, I would have found it by now. Shit, I knew about the Mandy Rose stuff like 2 or 3 weeks. I was sending it to the group chat.
You're like a nude's truffle pig.
I was gonna say celebrity news Lois and Clark. I just tried. Notice I didn't say Christopher Columbus because I'm not discovering something that was already there. I'm just mapping what's available.
You're leaving out the raping and the pillaging.
Yep, and attempted genocide.
Good man.
So since we're still on the subject of wrestling, what has been the most?
Roman Reigns. To answer any question about what's been the best of anything this year is Roman Reigns. Him, anybody in his orbit, look at where Sami Zayn is in his career right now. Would that be happening without our tribal chief? I don't think so.
No.
Thank you to steal a line from Master Gable. Thank you. Shoosh. No, stop.
He cracks me up so.
It's irritating as fuck, and that's the point. So it's working. Yeah.
Shoosh.
Thank you.
And here's the best part about what Roman Reigns does. I don't know if a lot of people have watched recently. He doesn't even need to talk anymore.
Oh, he's on a whole nother level.
One of my favorite moments this year of what he did was when one of the Usos was about to run out of the steel cage during the War Games. And all he did was reach his hand out and was like, no. And just looked over at Sami Zayn and just kind of gave a nod like, you go. And I was like, that's not something everybody could pull off. He was just
after the leukemia thing, before he came back and showed up with Heyman, I read somewhere that he was taking acting classes.
Yeah.
What he's doing, he was already whether people want to admit it or not, he was a high level professional wrestler to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like for what his role was. And I don't mean like as the top of the company. I mean his role as far as like the bruiser of the match. He did that well enough.
Mm-hmm.
Something clicked with that dude as far as being able to create emotion within the people that are watching him. He didn't have that before. I don't know whether it was the acting classes, was it almost dying? Something a switch got flipped, and that man turned into fucking Leonardo DiCaprio in this bitch. He's out there putting on performances like Sam Jackson in the middle of the ring. Okay, maybe that wasn't a great example, but you get my point.
You know what I feel like, though? We have always said that when Roman Reigns is allowed to be himself, he's good. We've seen him improv things where he like stumbled on words or just kind of went off script. And then like there was one instance on SmackDown when before the pandemic hit, he said something, turned around, looked at the cameras and winked. And we lost our shit because we were like, more of that. We need more of that from Roman Reigns. That's what we need from him. So the acting classes, if this is true, just elevated him to as to turn a phrase, God level.
Mm-hmm.
Was it God on another tier?
Well, no, it's greatness on another level. I think is what it is.
I like greatness on another tier because like there are tiers to
Oh,
wrestling.
but that doesn't spell anything. It spells God. It spells it.
Goat. It spells goat. God on another tier.
Oh, yeah, it does. That does work. Look at you.
So like but he's so fucking good. And like you said, Sami Zayn wouldn't be who he was if it wasn't for the fact that if Roman Reigns wasn't what he's doing now. Now, Sami Zayn has always been a 10 out of 10. He can wrestle, he can speak, he can be annoying, he can be sympathetic. There's nothing Sami Zayn can do that we haven't seen other people do. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you add him to the Tribal Chief, to the beef with him and Jey Uso, and how he made Paul Heyman break. When Paul Heyman breaks, that's something else. And then Roman breaks. You're not being Uzi. And everyone's like, what? Because even the crowd was like, wait, what just happened? What's going on?
What did he say? Did he just say Uzi?
And then Roman just kind of, it even took Roman a couple of seconds, and he just threw his hands in his face, and Paul Heyman's just like, oh my God. And you know what's funny? I'm willing to bet money Paul Heyman saw dollar signs when he said that. Because Paul Heyman has been around the best.
That was a bar, and it was based on the reaction it got. That's going on the t-shirt.
Yeah,
that is going on the t-shirt.
Triple H called somebody. He was like, and the person on the other end was like, I'm already making t-shirts. Like Uzi t-shirts will be available at the next live show.
Not even. Triple H just snapped his finger, was like, Birdie, and all of a sudden somebody went, yeah, boss, and the shirts were already made.
I picture Triple H snapping his finger, and then someone, male or female, on the other end going, yes, daddy. But yeah, man, like it's awesome. And I'm actually shocked that they only have the tag and the world titles. I was waiting for one of them to get one of like the US or the Intercontinental title, but
for a hot second, Solo was on the main roster with the North American title. So that was their look for everyone to have belts. Well, everybody except for Sami Zayn. But
well, Sami Zayn's got the people's heart, so I guess that counts as a title.
He wasn't an honorary Uso. He wasn't the honorary Uso at that point. So things were a little different then.
Before we get into comic book stuff, one last thing I want to bring up is a conversation that we had about Sasha Banks and whether or not she actually needs the WWE. And we've talked about this extensively, and I think we both agreed that like Sasha Banks doesn't need the WWE at all.
I think that sometimes the WWE has a problem with recognizing when someone has legitimate crossover potential. They flirted with getting completely behind Banks on multiple occasions, and when I say that, I don't mean putting a title on her. I mean the extraneous stuff like sending her to do press and things like that. You know how they feel about you if they keep putting you in front of cameras that aren't WWE cameras to carry the torch for the company.
Yeah, it's like
but with that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll wait you know.
But with that, she still managed to do things like, she ended up on the Mandalorian. She's doing some stuff with music. She's pushing her own narrative, and she's taking the star that grew within the WWE, and she's making it soar without them. I think at the end of the day, she can make just as much, if not more, money in a place like AEW over in Japan. Clearly, but we're hearing about this this deal that she has to wrestle over in New Japan. She's doing it, and she hasn't needed the WWE to set any of this stuff up. Now, I say all that to say that I don't know that she's done with the WWE. I personally feel like this is all smoke and mirrors. She's probably going to end up winning the Royal Rumble or something like that. The reason why I feel that way is everybody's hanging on the fact that she has this deal with New Japan, but it's not like the WWE won't work with New Japan. They've done it in the past, and they're currently doing it now. Freaking Jushin Liger had a match at an NXT show a few years back. Shinsuke Nakamura is gonna fight the Great Muta in January. So it's not like they don't have a close enough to a working relationship where things could be done. So I think that they're taking this as an opportunity to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, and Sasha Banks is probably going to end up back in the WWE. That's my opinion. Obviously, I don't know, but based on what I've seen, that's the way it looks to me.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, look, I love that we've actually had this conversation as well. How you think this is a work, and I agree with you. And obviously, I thought it was. I didn't think about it until you brought it up, but it absolutely seems like a work, specifically because the WWE has a very Marvel Cinematic Universe way of doing things, where they understand the way their fans work, and how even if everybody knows that Sasha Banks is going to pop up at the Royal Rumble, when they hear her music, everybody watching is going to pop. So I don't think it really matters what happens with her. Does Sasha Banks need the WWE? I don't think so. We've seen her all over the place. If Trinity Fatu or Naomi, she probably needs the WWE more than Sasha does, because she doesn't really have the star power that she does. And if we want to get into a colorist thing, it's because Naomi is dark skinned. You know what I mean? Like that's a definite reason why like certain things don't happen. Because if we're being honest, Naomi has risen in a way that we haven't seen since The Miz. Naomi,
An interesting parallel.
Naomi wasn't that great when she first started. She was athletic, you know what I mean? But was she like breaking down the house? No. Then she ended up having these random matches. I think it was AJ Lee. She had a couple of title matches against AJ Lee where she really shined. And as time went on, she got better and better and better. And it didn't necessarily rely on her athleticism to put on a good show. And I compared her to The Miz only because we've talked about the come up that The Miz had. He was just a reality TV star who wore jorts, who was an annoying dude who wore jorts. And then Vince McMahon liked his thighs, and now he's in a wrestling like tights, and he's one of the best world champions that we had in the last like 10 years.
You know, with the context that we have now, you saying Vince McMahon liked his thighs has a whole new meaning.
Yo, and this is a great
that explains
segue.
Those world title reigns, huh?
This is also a great segue into comic book stuff, because I swear, like, Vince McMahon is the juggernaut from like those videos. I feel he's like, bitch, I like your raincoat. So moving into the stuff that we've seen in WWE, from the WWE to 2022 in comic book TV shows and news. And let's talk about the elephant in the room if you are a fan of DC Comics films and programs. Henry Cavill is no longer Superman. And now, while there is a lot to get into it, I think it wouldn't have been a big deal if they didn't go with Henry Cavill at the end of the credits of Black Adam. It got people excited. It got Henry Cavill, who talked about being excited about coming back and putting on the blue and red and being the Man of Steel again. The idea that if you're a comic book fan, Black Adam versus Shazam makes way more sense. However, from a money standpoint, Superman and Black Adam makes way more sense. Less than 2 months after Black Adam is released, Henry Cavill was told that he will no longer be Superman in the DCEU. Now, you had an interesting and a very true point to how people are going to look at the next person who plays Superman.
I did.
Yeah. You said you already hate him and you don't even know who he is.
Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to feel that way. This always happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime someone, a beloved character is recast, people lose their shit. And, I mean, it's happened. This is the second time it's happened with Henry Cavill. Look at the Witcher thing. Who's taking over him? Jake Gyllenhaal and shit?
The not-so-hot Hemsworth.
There you go. and people shat on that immediately.
Oh,
Like the dude, we haven't even seen the dude in the costume yet. We already hate it.
and it's funny because I was on the list of people and I tweeted, I was like, it's not even the hot Hemsworth. It's not even the one everyone wants to see with his shirt off.
And not to bury the lead here, but that's also another part of this. One of the main reasons why the he left The Witcher, other than some creative differences, is he had the Superman stuff coming up. So the man ain't got no job now. How you get fired on your day off?
Well, he's supposed to be playing in I guess a Warhammer thing. And the only reason I know that is because my future baby mama, even though I got a vasectomy, Shayna Baszler is posted something about Henry Cavill getting a new job, and I think it's called Warhammer 4000.
Yeah, it's a video game.
So I guess he's going to be in that. And it's, yep, Henry Cavill, next play, Warhammer 4000 series for Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So allegedly, James Gunn said that they had a really good conversation, him, Henry Cavill, and I forget the co-president of the DCEU or whatever it is. They sat down and I guess they had a really good conversation and they hope to work with each other in the future. But we know that 90% of the time of I hope to work with you in the future, it's basically, excuse my language, but bye, nigga. It's like we're probably never going to see Henry Cavill in another DC Comics movie because he did legitimately seem hurt by what happened.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he rearranged his whole life to get back to this thing that he loved doing, and they shit on him. And I get the logic behind what James Gunn and I don't know the other individual's name either. I apologize, but I understand why they'd want to clear the decks. I kind of have a little heartburn around the idea that Gunn himself is going to be directing the next Superman movie. For me, I think I said this to you before online. I don't know that I want to see Superman set to an 80s soundtrack making wisecracks, because it seems that's James Gunn's niche in his movies. Like that's a thread that in every movie that he directs. So it's like, I like James Gunn as a director. I trust him as a director, I think.
Well,
is he a right director for Superman? I don't know.
It's funny because if the movie's going to be set with him in Metropolis during his early days as a reporter for the Daily Planet, we are probably going to get an 80s Superman set to sound that. Oh, so the gentleman's name is Peter Safran.
Thank you. Sorry, Peter.
It's one of those things where we don't know what's going on, and I agree with you. I understand where James Gunn is coming from with a lot of things. If you want to do something that has been unsuccessful, you kind of want to do your best to kind of work on your own merit. This isn't a situation where Elon Musk goes into Twitter and fires everybody, considering he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. James Gunn made Guardians of the Galaxy one of the most popular comic book franchises of the last 20 years. Who would give a fuck about Peter Quill, especially being played by the dude who was the fat guy from Parks and Recs? But it worked. And I remember the joke where DC said they didn't know how to make a Wonder Woman movie. And then someone posted, Marvel, hey, I got a talking raccoon in a tree. Fuck you. The problem I think that a lot of people have with the way DC Comics has been working is specifically because their comic book characters are so iconic that they essentially write themselves. We don't need to see the last son of Krypton flying through space and like da-da-da. We don't need to see that. We don't need to see Batman's mother's pearls. However, I wouldn't mind seeing what Wonder Woman went through when she was growing up. I think that'd be kind of cool. We could see things like Artemis when she was left the Amazon to become, I think, to eat the Amazon of Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, or Nubia. Like, there is a lot to be done there. And like I said, it writes itself, but for some reason they can't get right.
They constantly trip over themselves. I'm not a big Zack Snyder fan, but I enjoyed the Snyder cut for what it was. I felt like that would have been a way better movie than what we got. And just reading some of the leaked ideas that he had for how his trilogy was going to end, it all seemed like it's comic book level stuff. One of the reasons why people love Endgame so much, I'll specifically say the comic book fans love this so much is because in the end it ended in a huge battle. That's how all these comic book arcs end. These large, cross comic crossover books end in a huge battle. We got to see one of those in live action. Justice League ended with Superman beating the shit out of dude. What was his name? Steppenwolf. Great name. I don't know, but it was anticlimactic. And then Martian Manhunter just shows up. Dude, where were you at when we were fighting this big nigga that was whooping our ass until Superman came back?
You know, my favorite part about that is you could tell that Bruce Wayne was so annoyed. He was like, he got out of bed, like, I think there was a woman in bed with him too. And he gets up and he's like, he was annoyed. He was just like, why the fuck are you showing up at 5 o'clock in the morning in my beautiful ass house a day late and $1 fucking short? Now, it's one thing if they didn't show us the Martha scene. Not the Martha scene. It was the Martha scene. It was like, so he was there. And he still didn't show up. What the fuck are you doing? What was you doing? And I always
washing his tights.
And I always harken back to something Javi said. The first time he saw Justice League, he was watching it with me. And he almost got up and left when he saw that scene between the Green Lanterns, the Amazons, the People of Earth, and Darkseid's crew. He was like, why isn't that just a movie?
Making sense.
It's like they missed the boat on so much shit, man. And then it's Henry Cavill news. And like we said, we both get it, but maybe wait another couple of years. You know what I mean? And like now now James Gunn is getting all this unwarranted hate because of everything DC's done. It's like, yo, Batgirl getting canceled had nothing to do with James Gunn.
No. I still don't understand. That's still just baffling to me. Like, even if it was bad, just put it on HBO Max. Get something out of it.
I guess it was something about they get an X amount of money in taxes if they never.
Yeah, for the write-off.
It honestly, like, it was the most disappointing thing, I think, for me, because I really wanted to see that movie.
Yeah, I was interested.
And like Brendan Fraser has been 10 out of 10 as Robot Man. And the way people were talking about him as Firefly, I was like, oh, this could be something great. But
he was Firefly?
He was supposed to be Firefly in the Batgirl movie.
Oh, I did not know that.
So here we are now with nothing.
Bill Bratsky.
So I don't even like, it's funny, we have all these topics and stuff like that, but I don't even know where to really begin with the mistakes that DC has made over the years. And I guess now Jason Momoa, after Aquaman 2, he's going to be Lobo. And it's like, okay.
Oh, is that official?
No, it's still a rumor.
I like it.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. But it's also one of those situations where it's like, you're having him, this isn't like Chris Evans, who played a couple of comic book characters. You're having a guy play almost the exact opposite of what his character is in the same universe.
It's not the same universe anymore, though.
Yeah, fair enough. You got me there.
Which and this, I'm a little confused by this bit of news that we got the other day about how the Superman and Wonder Woman cameos from the Flash movie are being pulled. I can't wrap my head around why that would be necessary if they're wiping the decks. Like, what does it matter if Wonder Woman or Superman show up in the movies?
Maybe because they're like, oh, well, it could be, you know what, now that I think about it, it's probably because it's just going to make people even more frustrated with what could have been. So when this movie comes out, if it does come out, I'm still not sold on it actually happening. Comes out in 2023, then we'll have to wait and see. I don't think it's gonna ever come out. I think Ezra Miller's gonna do some more dumb shit, and that's gonna be that. So let's get into our thoughts on. I'm gonna ask you some questions. You tell me the answers, like basically based on like what our favorite parts, moments, and characters of the year are. I'm gonna give you a couple of choices. You let me know from there. Are you ready?
Go.
Best performance, better character from 2022: Layla, Jennifer Walters, or they're both even.
I'm gonna have to go even here. Because I think the thing that the two of them have over most of the other characters this year is they are relatable. Because they seem human. I know that's funny, seeing as how one of them I'm talking about turned into a big giant green monster, but you get the point.
Wong and Khonshu, or Wong, Khonshu, or they're even.
Hmm. I have a soft spot in my heart for Wong.
Wonger.
So if any of these other questions are Wong versus somebody, the answer is going to be Wongers.
Valkyrie or Okoye.
Oh, God, what are you doing to me here?
And this is only, mind you, this is only in 2022, but Valkyrie was the high point of Thor: Love and Thunder to me.
I don't think I really like that movie, but that's another conversation for another day. I'm gonna go with Okoye. She was actually given the opportunity to have legitimate at-length character development in Wakanda Forever, and the actress got to really show her chops. So yeah, I'm gonna edge Okoye here.
All right. Keo Kulan or Kamala Khan?
Who the fuck is K.O. Kalan?
Namor.
Why the fuck would you why would you not call him Namor? I don't understand. What the fuck are we doing here?
Because technically his name is Keo Kalan. I don't know. I'm my fucking American ass tongue.
Look, mama named him Namor. I'm gonna call him Namor.
His mama didn't name him Namor. He got the name after he died. Fine, Namor or Kamala Khan?
Ah, fuck. I'm gonna go with Kamala. I don't know why. I think I just mentally flipped the coin in my head.
Yeah. Arthur Harrow or Titania?
I love Titania. Titania. I'll go with Titania because she's hot. I have no shame. No shame.
You know, I'm not even mad at that on any conceivable level. Who had a better performance in 2022? I already know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Scarlet Witch or Ramonda?
Come on. Really?
I just need to hear you say
I'm
it.
about to call. I'm about to call Dr. Umar so he can sit and see the 50,000 lashes for that question. Ramonda, man, come on. Where's my belt at?
You're putting Shayna Baszler in a comic book. What team does she join? The Bat Family, the Justice League, Sinestro Corps, or League of Assassins?
League of Assassins. Come on. Even though she does inspire great fear.
Pick one to fight stormtroopers with: Raphael, Damian Wayne, Bullseye, or Old Man Logan.
Definitely not gonna go with Bullseye because I feel like he's gonna find some way to kill me in this scenario. Probably Damien. I think he's gonna have an efficient plan of attack, and I probably won't have to do much.
Fair enough. Wolverine, Old Man Logan is just gonna like go, and he's not.
And
like,
he may also accidentally kill me.
Well, he doesn't have that. He doesn't really have that berserker in him anymore. So,
you trust it if you want.
Romance of the year: She-Hulk and Daredevil, Thor and Thor, Annie and Huey, or Harl Ivy.
Harl Ivy.
I saw that one come up, but I figured I had to ask anyway. Villain of the year: Homelander, Scarlet Witch, Riddler, or Namor.
Homelander for sure.
Yeah, that one seemed like almost a given. Like he was just the fucking worst. Comic book hero of the year: Black Panther, Peacemaker, Doctor Strange, or Batman.
Give them to me again.
Black Panther, Peacemaker, Doctor Strange, or Batman.
Ooh. Black
This
Panther
is-
saved an entire country. Oh no, Doctor Strange saved like the multiverse. Shit, that's tough.
I went
Fuck it. Wakanda forever, motherfucker. I'm going Sherry.
I went Peacemaker.
I'm telling you, Umar's gonna give you extra 10,000 lashes.
Marvel Studios' Oh Snap moment of 2022. What mouth? Ramonda's fate. Miss Marvel is a mutant, or John Krasinski as Reed Richards.
The most impactful was probably Kamala Khan being a mutant.
Yeah, I agree. If I had to pick a favorite, that what mouth shit was. It was
That's someone that made me laugh the hardest. I'll say that.
it wasn't even just what she said. Elizabeth Olsen has this way of doing things as Scarlet Witch that like people don't notice. It's little subtle things with her face. When she said "what mouth," it was a subtle tilt of her head when she said it. What mouth?
Mm-hmm.
Disappointment cancellation of the year: Batgirl, Stargirl, Wonder Woman, or Batwoman.
Stargirl. I love that show. That show had heart.
Really?
Mhm.
So I've heard good things about the show, and I started it last week, but I had to really get into Doom Patrol. But that show is really fucking. It was fun, and it seemed like it was going to get really good. It seemed like a CW show that wasn't exactly a CW show, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Member of the Seven: Queen Maeve, Homelander, Black Noir, or the Deep. Who's the best?
The Deep.
That dude is the fucking worst.
Yes, he is. I love him.
All right. And lastly, biggest disappointment of the year: Paper Girls, Thor Love and Thunder, Morbius, or Naomi.
Oh, that's tough. Naomi had such promise, but I think as far as overall impact is concerned, probably Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
I think the feeling of I'm calling it a feel. The movie did well. It wasn't a disaster or anything like that. It just wasn't as good as the previous film.
Yeah.
But I think that movie and the reaction to it is one of the things that is forcing Marvel to rethink how they're moving forward. So I think that if a movie can have that kind of impact where it's forcing them to kind of adjust their slate, I think we have to call that the biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm thinking not in a personal sense, but in a global sense.
I agree. I am gonna give an honorable mention to Morbius, specifically because the people behind that movie listened to a meme and then put that bitch out a weekend later, and it was disastrous. And then that same person put out a meme and said, "Hey, we were busy last weekend, but I swear if you put it up this weekend, we'll go see it." Yo, I own that movie. I was in
You actually
Seattle.
purchased that?
I was in Seattle with the wife, and I wanted to see it, and I was gonna rent it, but it wasn't available to rent. We were up. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll pay the $20. It can't be that bad." I was wrong. That movie sucked. Oh my
it's
god,
really bad.
that may be the worst movie. That may be the worst comic book movie of the year. Possibly one of the 3 worst comic book movies of the last 20 years.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it has such a the cast was good.
Except Tyrese.
Well, that's a given. Anytime he's on the cast, it's always accept him. But no, Matt Smith, freaking the fuck is
David
this guy's name?
Targaryen.
Yeah, I mean, so it's really, really weird that it actually, no, I'm lying. It's not weird at all that this movie failed. This movie should never happened.
We have been lamenting to anybody who will listen about how just because Spider-Man is attached to something, the movie will not do good unless Spider-Man is in it.
Yeah, one of the key components is, Spider-Man.
Yeah, he doesn't have the same appeal as like if there's a Sabretooth movie coming out, I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna be excited about it. If there's a Lady Deathstrike movie, I may be less inclined, but I'm still excited. If you give me what's one of his really Wolverine's shitty villains?
Hypno Hustler? No, that's
Oh,
Spider-Man
God.
again.
That's actually happening.
Yeah, I know that was a joke.
Oh, God, what the fuck is it? Wolverine has a really stupid villain that I don't. Wolverine.
Tiger Shark?
We don't talk about Tiger Shark when it comes to Wolverine. What the fuck is his name? There's a really
Tiger Shark?
Bloodscreen. If you put out a Bloodscreen movie, I'm not going to see that.
What the hell is a blood scream? I don't even know who this is.
There you go. But apparently he's according to a lot of fucking websites, he's one of Wolverine's top 20 fucking villains. And I'm like, really?
Who?
Who? Yeah, like who gives a fuck about Bloodscreen?
Bloodscreen, man, come on.
Bloodscreen, that sounds like a great metal name.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
A finisher for a woman wrestler.
All right,
oh
man.
No, she hit the blood screen.
All right, this has been an episode of a podcast. I keep saying that because I don't know which episode this is going out on. But yeah, tell everyone where they can find you.
Above Average LLP on Twitter. Boom.
It's really fun, especially during the wrestling days where you just kind of just go off on the things that annoy you.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's work now, so I'm forced to watch it whether I want to or not. And I can be a bit on the surly side when stupid things happen and I can't get out of it.
So what's the most annoying thing that's happened to you this year when watching wrestling?
Well, it's not a particular individual or individuals. It's a certain setup. Anytime a overly long talking segment leads into a tag team match or a 6-man tag match or 8-man, it's oh my god, it's so annoying. Number one, the long talking segments are the worst because transcribing them is annoying as hell. And then those multi-person matches are so hard to actually keep focus on. It's a seventh layer of hell for me.
One of my favorites. I'm going through your Twitter, and because I'm trying to find one where like it can completely encapsulate everything that you talk about when it comes to comic books. Not comic books, wrestling. Conan rips top AEW stars for playing video games instead of learning from vets wrestling. You responded, I mean, you can play video games at home. You're at work to work. Based on what I've seen on Wednesday nights, folks need those free classes more than beating each other's high scores on Smash Bros.
I mean, am I wrong?
No. The amount of botches that you send me, I just wish the person who's doing the acknowledge me videos was still doing them.
They'll come back, I'm sure.
All right, man. This has been either the Old Man Wade Show or the Black Nerds podcast. I don't know what it's going to be. And you know what? It'll be what it is. And as always, be excellent to each other. Peace.
Damn it, Wade!